Dark Cloud on the Horizon, an in-depth look on how to pick a cloud provider. This report was prepared by Nick Bruner, Tom Coyne, Bo Hansen, and Raymond Silvera. As a small business, minimizing costs and risks is often at the forefront of every owner's mind. As such, many small businesses are pushed into the direction of cloud services in order to reduce costs and maximize efficiency. The process can often be both difficult and exciting. We recently interviewed Sarah Roberts at Lee and Company CPA. Sarah stated that in her own business she relies on outsiders to advise her and guide her in some of her IT needs. But when she really needs IT help, her husband is an MIS professional at a local company, but agrees not all companies have this unique situation that she can rely on. Lee and Company just purchased a new server, and Sarah stated that she liked the feeling of having something in-house because she knows where it is and who gets into that area. Sarah stated her reason for picking Carbonate and GoDaddy as her host was the appeal of a known and trusted name. Our report, Dark Clouds on the Horizon, is to address this, to show what companies should do in order to find a cloud-based provider that will provide them with safe and easy access to their information and storage of their information. According to the Cloud Security Alliance, there are three main breaches in data loss, data mining, and phishing attacks. These are some of the things to be aware of when searching for a cloud provider. You want to keep these in mind as you're going through to find out what your cloud provider's security methods are. There are 2 steps before you select a cloud provider. First, you need to understand your goals and objectives. Determine the service that you need for your cloud provider. Also, what is the reason you are going to go to the cloud? Do you need software as a service, data housing, platforming, or just a normal cloud providing service? Also, you need to compile a list of the services that you require to refer back to as you analyze the providers. Be prepared to change this list as you continue to analyze providers and develop a better understanding of your needs. And 2, determine your acceptable risk level both from a business and legal standpoint. Analyze local and federal laws like PCI and HIPAA to help make the decisions. Look at the potential cost of a breach cleanup with the amount of data your company possesses. After you do that, you're going to want to find and select the right cloud provider. Here are the 5 steps. Compile a list of the top cloud providers. This can be done by doing a basic Google search, something like top cloud service providers, and choose 5 to 10. Do the initial research. Look for reviews, articles from reputable sources, blogs, and anything that you can find to gain information on the company. Examine the website in terms of condition of each product. Also, compare your findings to a list that you compiled and get in the getting started stage. There's some things to consider when doing your research. Past data breaches. Have they had one? If they have, how many have they had? And how did they handle it? Data mining. Do providers share your data with third parties? This is something you do not want. And costs. Initial costs and cost, are they going to increase or are they going to decrease in the future? And then authenticating users. How do you know the people using your cloud service are who they say they are? What steps do the companies take? Number 3, narrow down your list. Compare the results of your research to the list that you initially compiled to find the best fits for your organization. 4, conduct final research on the narrowed down list by calling service providers. Compare what they say to the other companies that are on your final list. Several questions to consider is, where is your company located? Where will our data be stored? Do you share our data with third parties? Have you ever had a data breach? What steps did you take to fix the issue if you did have a data breach? Can we encrypt our own data on your server? Who will keep the encryption key? If the provider keeps the key, then is it stored on a different database? And what kind of technical support do you provide? And 5, choose your provider based on how your research fits the list of criteria that you initially compiled at the beginning of your process. Once you've done this, you should be able to select the best fit cloud provider for your company. I recently contacted Microsoft Azure. I was able to find out a few things that the company did for its customers. I asked them a couple questions. One of the questions I asked was, what do you do for security in order to prevent data breaches? The salesperson's response to my question was that they stated that as a software company, they try to be proactive, and they gave me a couple examples. The salesperson at Microsoft said that they have limited their operators and administrators to what they called as a process called demonstrating need for access. In other words, they limit their employees' ability to have access to something until they actually need to have access to it. The Microsoft salesperson also stated that as an employee, they operate on a just-in-time access. They explained that this was that they were given access to certain areas only when needed by approval at that point of time. They also stated that they segregated their employees' email environment from their production environment. I asked them another question: how can you assure my safety when using your system? And they gave me a pretty honest answer. They stated that they can't assure my safety with their company, but that they utilize and minimize the risks in order to help protect me as a client. The last question that I asked them was, would you notify me if there was a breach? And they kind of gave me a little bit of a runaround on this. But for all intents and purposes, I could read through the lines, and they basically stated that they would let me know if they had to, if they were legally obligated to do so. This wraps up our analysis on dark cloud on the horizon. Hopefully, you can choose your cloud provider with confidence and the ability to choose the right one.